friends, how are you today? I hope you had a good sleep and you had a good start to your morning, and hopefully there's some sun coming in through your windows, and you've had some breakfast and washed your face and brushed your hair and put some clothes on, brushed your teeth, had some stretches, and now you're here for a lesson. So let's start by showing our heart to each other. Hi, my friends, I miss you, and I'm sure you're doing so many cool things and growing so big, and I can't wait to see you. And then also to all my friends connected through our lessons under the rainbow, and every time you're learning something, your friends are maybe learning that too, or thinking about the same things. And this week it was so cool because Finley sent us that cool frog video. We got to all look at it. So stuff like that, as you see nature changing, or if you're doing cool things like Lucas did a scavenger hunt and Pete did a lesson, all these different things that you're doing, you can share with your friends and share with me, and I'm so happy that you guys are staying connected in that way. So let's start with our date. So last week we were in a different month, and this week we're in a new month. So what month are we in this week? Who remembers? Or who can tell me? Yeah, so we are in the month of May. And today is already Wednesday, May 6th. So I can't believe it's already the 6th of May. It's going by quickly. And hopefully you've printed out your new calendar, or maybe you're just writing your calendar, and you can do the cursive at the bottom. Maybe you're ticking off the days. But yeah, it's already May 6th, and it is Wednesday, because I get to see you guys on Wednesdays. And for our weather today, so here it's sunny, but it's really cold. So I did a sun and I wrote the date. And it's sunny, but it's cold. And I even heard that it might snow, oh my gosh, on Friday, which is ridiculous because there really shouldn't be any snow anytime in May. But it is the season of, what season is it? Spring. And that just is how it's going. So hopefully it will start getting warmer soon, and the sun of course helps. And maybe you've been noticing your lawns are turning greener, and the grass around the parks and in the parks is turning green, and there's the buds on the trees we talked a little bit about last week, and the flower buds are kind of starting to come. I saw in the forest a trillium, which is the Ontario flower, and it hadn't opened yet, but the bud was fully there. I'll try to send a picture of it, and it was really cool. So things are definitely growing and changing in our season. A lot of birds are probably coming out more out of their nests as the days get longer, and they're searching for different sources of food. So, once it rains, a lot of the time, the rain comes down, especially if there's a lot, and it erodes some of the soil. And as the soil erodes and moves apart, a lot of the times bugs and insects and worms come out. So usually after a rainstorm, sometimes you see worms outside on the surface, and birds eat those things, so they can come down and look for insects after a good rainfall. So not only after rain might you see new insects, but you also might see new birds, which is cool. And in my jar I have no precipitation, just some pine needles, because it's been sunny here, sunny but cool. Okay, so today we're going to do lots of fun things as always. And what we're looking at this week is bees, honeybees. So first of all, I just want to say about honeybees is that, we're going to look at the parts of the honeybee. They do have a stinger. When we see bees, we tend to get anxious and a little bit scared because we don't want them to sting us. But just like most things in nature, if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. So you have no reason to ever chase a bee or to get in its way. It's really doing important work. It's really going out and looking for nectar to bring back and turn into honey. So bees are at work. And they're a big, important part of our ecosystem and of nature. And beehives, there's hives that occur naturally in the wilderness, and there's also people that keep bees and take care of bees and collect their honey. So bees have lots of different roles that they play with each other and with humans. All right, so I'm going to start by showing you this book here, because I felt that there was some good pictures of bees, and specifically the queen bee. So honeybees are highly social, and they live together in something we call a colony. So a group of bees is called a colony, and each individual has a job to do within the colony. So young workers, so that's one of the bee jobs, feed the larvae and tend to the nests, and they control how many female larvae are fed royal jelly to become queen bees and how many male larvae survive. So they really do a lot of work. And then this other part here says that workers perform a special waggle dance to direct other workers to where they have found food. And then it's talking about, this book specifically is talking about genes and how bees evolve and how they're made up. So it says that a gene is thought to control the change in behavior during the life of a worker bee. And then here it says, after 3 weeks, the workers leave the nest to gather food. Older workers collect pollen and nectar. So, really interesting stuff about bees. And there you can kind of see what a queen bee would be. I think that might be like the life size of a queen bee. They are really huge. And then here you can see the different parts of the hive, the bees in there doing their work. So so it says that, the workers take care of the larva, which is the second stage of the life cycle of the bee, and they communicate to each other through dances, so they tell each other where there's good food. And actually here is the dance that it's showing here, if you can see it, right, which is pretty cool. So bees have a complex society, and they are working hard, and then the queen is sort of overseeing it all, and the royal jelly is what they feed to certain female bees in the larva, probably not in the larva stage, but, and they're fed, so it says, so they feed the females royal jelly, and then that will determine which one will be the next queen bee. So that's pretty interesting as well. All right, so, and then the other thing we're going to talk a lot about today is we're going to look at polygons for our math. And as you can see here, these are all the shape of hexagons, right, which is a shape that has 6 sides. And hives, and when we look inside them, their kind of nest areas are all in the shape of hexagons. So we're going to look at that a bit more today. Okay. So for your culture work, I have sent you the life cycle of the honeybee. So there's also the circle one, which you can color the parts of the life cycle and glue them on. This one you can do like a chain like this, or you can even make it into a book, whatever you want. So definitely the first part of the life cycle is the egg. So the queen lays the eggs, and then the next part is the larva, like this. And then we have what we call the pupa as it grows and changes. And then out of the pupa comes the adult bee. Okay, so I think you should color this, and I think if you're able to, you should definitely label it, which is great. And so that's the life cycle of the bee, those 4 stages. And then also what we have to look at is the parts of the adult bee. So here you can either cut out the labels and glue them on to the parts, or you can label it yourself in cursive. I labeled mine in cursive, so whatever you want to work on, whatever way you want to do it. And let's just go over the parts. So I think immediately you would recognize, the wings, the eyes, the antennas, but every insect has three parts of its body. So they all have the abdomen, the thorax, and the head. So they all have these 3 essential parts, these 3 main parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. And then here on the bee, we have our stinger right there. And then up here, wings, which of course you can see, the eyes, the antenna. Here, this long kind of tongue-like protrusion is called the proboscis, and that's what they go deep into the flowers to get the nectar. And then also we have this part called the mandible, which is just on insects, which we call like the lower jaw of the insects. So it's the mandible. And I think that's everything, their legs. Yeah. So have fun labeling that and coloring that. And those are the parts of the honeybee. And next week we will look at the butterfly, which is another insect. But yeah, the one cool thing about insects is one of the parts about one of their characteristics that make up their group is that they have these 3 body parts, and any kind of insect you look at will have those. Okay. All right. So moving on to language. All right. So for language, we have 2 things to do today. So we're going to look at our phonograms, and we're going to look at compound words. So I know many of you have had a lesson on compound words, but if you haven't, then we're going to have one today. And then again, it's just like always, it's great to practice, keep on learning, keep on doing different things. All right, so let's start with our phonogram mats, because these have become so good and fun, and I really hope that you're doing them all and coloring them and saving them, and then you'll have a whole bunch to look at and refer to. And if you ever get stuck, you're like, oh yeah, what was that sound combination? What did that sound combination tell me? And how does it go together? So we have 2 today. Now, each one of these have this subtraction sign and then the sounds. So this one's the t, the k, and the h, which makes a ch sound. And then this is the t and the h, which makes a th sound. Okay? And so basically what this subtraction sign is showing us is that it's occurring at the end of the word. So we're looking specifically for the phonogram that comes at the end of the word. So some phonograms come at the beginning of the word, like if you have the word chair, the k and the h make the ch sound, and that's at the beginning of the word, so ch-air. And then these 2 today that we're playing with are at the end of the sound, or sorry, at the end of the word. So they're the 2 sounds that come at the end of the word. So here, let's look at the pictures and we'll figure out where they go. And again, with this work, if you're able to, you should totally label it and color it and make it as cool and personal as you want. Okay, so the first one is a picture of hanging upside down, a sloth. Okay, so what sounds do we hear at the end of the word? We have s, l, a, f. Yeah, so we have the t and the h at the end of the word, sloth. Good. Okay, now we have, all right, we have it's like a baby reptile hatching out of an egg. So we have the word atch, atch. All right, so at the end of this word, we have the ch sound, which is the t, the k, and the h to make hatch. So hatch. Okay, now we have a tooth. Ooh. So what sound did you hear at the end? Do you hear the ch sound or the sound? Yeah, you hear tooth, the sound at the end of the word, tooth. Then we have, oh look, a watch. Yeah, watch. Right, so the ch sound is at the end of the word, watch. Then I have catch. Catch. Okay, so do I hear the th sound? No, I hear catch. So here, catch. And then I have, what's this a picture of? Looks sort of like a butterfly, but it's a moth. Moth. So this is the th sound at the end of the word. And maybe we'll just do one more for each. I have a match. Match. Yeah, so the ch sound at the end of the word. And then I have a woolly mammoth. Mammoth. So the th sound at the end of the word. So there you go. So that's some of each. And yeah, hope you have fun. And then we also have a few friends. Well, we have 2 Theos in our class. And they both start with the t and the h beginning. But yeah, these 2 are looking at the phonogram sounds at the end of the word. So I hope you enjoy that. And it's a good challenge. All right, now for our compound words. So basically, I'm going to send you a bunch of these, and it's your choice how many you want to do. So I basically just took, I think 4 or 5 pairs, and I printed them, and I cut them in half, okay? So there's some that you can see have a space at the beginning, so they're going to come on one side, and they're like the beginning of the words. And then we have the second part of the word. So right now we're getting set up. Okay. So as we're getting set up, let's think about a compound word. So a compound word is a word that has two parts to it, and it's basically two words that come together to make a new word. So a good one to think about is bookshelf. So when we write the word bookshelf, it is one word, but inside the word bookshelf, we have book and shelf, right? We're like toothbrush. Toothbrush, when we write the word and we read the word, we see it as one big word. But when we look at the word, we see that we have tooth and then we have brush. Okay? So everyone that goes at the beginning has a space at the beginning. And then these are the second word, the ones that have the space after the letters. So I'm going to read them here. I have finger, fire, gold, eye, and hair. Okay? So I'm going to leave them here, and I'm going to pick up one of the ones that I know comes second to the first word, and I'm going to see which one it goes to, so which one it makes sense with, which one is logical. Okay, so I have, let's try, okay. So this word says, what does it say? It says lash, lash. All right, so finger lash, is that a word? No. Fire lash? No. Gold lash? No. Eyelash? Yeah, eyelash is a word. We have eyelashes. So eye and lash together makes the word eyelash. And see, there it goes together. And you can see when you put it together, we have a space at the beginning and a space at the end. So eyelash. Okay. Now I have, this is the word cut. Cut. Okay, so finger cut. Definitely you can cut your finger, but we don't really call it like a finger cut. So that's not a new word, so no. Fire cut? No. Gold cut? No. Hair cut. Yeah, haircut together makes a word, and there are two words inside it, hair and cut, haircut. And I bet we all need haircuts. Look how long my hair is getting, it's everywhere. Or maybe your parents are cutting your hair. But yeah, haircuts are our thing. Okay, then we have the word fish. All right, so fingerfish, I don't think that's a word. Firefish, sounds cool, but I don't think that's something. Goldfish, yeah, I know a goldfish, a goldfish. Okay, then I have nail, so that fire nail, no. Fingernail, yeah, fingernail, my fingernail. And then my last one hopefully goes right here with fire, and it says place. So yeah, fireplace makes sense. So there I just did 5 of them, and I'll send you a whole bunch, and you can do them however, which way you want, as many as you want, a couple at a time, however you want to do it. All right, so moving on to math. So we're doing things a little different for math this week. I thought, we've done lots of like addition, and last week we did the geometric solids, we've done multiplication, we've done subtraction, we've done word problems. So I thought we'd just like look at the polygons. So basically this is the geometry cabinet worksheet. So in our classroom we have our 5 trays of our geometry cabinet, and this is one of the trays, the polygon. So I'm going to send this to you as well, and you can do it whatever way you want. As you know in the class, we color them blue. That is the color that we color our geometry materials in Montessori. So if you want to color them in blue, I think that would be great. And what we're going to do is I've written the names of mine, but the one I'm sending you to, there's labels where you can copy those out and glue them underneath your shapes. Also, you can cut up all the shapes and do it that way. So there's just like different ways that you can approach it. But for today, I thought what we'd do is I would just count how many sides with you and then practice the name and keep it all together. And then if you get really good at that, or if you remember all of your polygons already, then I suggest you looking at the list of the names and figuring out which one they go underneath, okay? And then also after that, you can even put it up and play a game where you have the labels on one side and all the shapes on the other side, and you have to match them, stuff like that. Okay, so the first here is the pentagon. So the pentagon has 5 sides. So when we're counting the shapes of the polygons, what we do is we make a little tick. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there you can see I have put kind of like 5 ticks or slashes through the sides, so I counted it. And then up in the corner, I'm going to put a number 5 to remind me that a pentagon has 5 sides. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the next shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm going to put a 6 up in the corner, and the hexagon has 6 sides. And the hexagon is what we were talking about in the beehive. Their shapes of their nests are not only their nests, it's really their honeycomb, the way that it all shapes together is a hexagon. And we're going to look at those again. We're actually going to look at the pentagon and hexagon again in the lesson. But first we'll count them all and then we'll go back to 2 activities with those. Okay, then the next one I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. And a shape like this that has 7 sides, I call a heptagon. Heptagon. All right. Now I'm going to count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay, and a shape with 8 sides is called an octagon. And a good way to remember the octagon is that an octopus has 8 legs. And so oct and oct means 8. And so this is an octagon. Now let's count the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 sides is a nonagon. So 9. Nonagon. Okay. And then the last one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Should write that. Decagon. The decagon. There you go. So, again, you can put the labels on one side, your shapes on the other side, and match them. You can even have your numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then try to match them that way. So those are some different activities that you can do with your polygons. Okay, so then I read kind of 2 cool activities. So the one is this one with a piece of paper. So you just want to cut a piece of paper, thin paper, into a strip. And we're trying to make it about kind of 1 inch of thickness, okay? But you can use your ruler to measure it, but you really kind of want it long. So my suggestion would be to basically do 1 inch or 3 centimeters. So I'll put 3 centimeters. And then maybe, maybe 10 inches long would be good. Whatever you want, but pretty long. So like the size of a paper almost. And then what this activity said that you can do is by tying a knot in this paper. So you're just going to tie a knot like this. So I'm trying to show you how to do it, but yeah. Basically you can tie a knot like this, and by pulling it through the paper, you will make with the paper a pentagon just by doing this. So just by tying a knot in the paper, right away, you make a pentagon. Isn't that cool? Okay, so then what you can do is fold, and maybe you could even, I'm going to rip mine, but you could cut it and put your scissors right there, or fold it down, there. And there, with paper, you made a pentagon. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. And you have a cool pentagon from paper. Yeah, so basically you just need it to be about 3 centimeters thick and maybe 20 centimeters long, and you can make a pentagon with some paper, right? That's neat, just like tying a knot. And then the other thing is that in this book, this is a really cool book. When we're in class again, I'll show it to you. It talks a lot about hexagons, which are 6-sided shapes, and how come they occur a lot in nature. And the one thing it says that about snowflakes, the hexagons are surprisingly common in nature. Snowflakes grow from hexagonal ice crystals, and that's why a snowflake always has six arms, which is neat. And then the one thing it said, which I thought was also neat, was that one of the reasons that hexagons occur a lot is because when you have a lot of circle-shaped things together, by putting circle-shaped together, it naturally goes into a hexagon. And so I was trying it out with some dimes. These are just dimes. I hope you can see them okay. And if you went and got a bunch of dimes, maybe 20 dimes or any type of coin, and you put them together because they're all circle, they'll naturally go into a hexagon shape because that's how they relate to each other and that's how they pack together. So here's a good picture of it. They're packing together. And here it was kind of fun to try. So as you can see, just by putting a bunch of dimes together, it naturally forms like a hexagon shape, which is cool. All right, so I'm going to put that away. Hope you have fun trying out making a big hexagon and a paper pentagon. And yeah, so I just also wanted to show you, because we talked about bees earlier, I just did this fun thing with Sloan, and it's so easy, and I thought it would be fun. It's just making little bees with your fingerprint. So what you do to do this is you just take your finger, so maybe your queen bee could be your thumb, and then your other bees, your young adult bee and your worker bees can be different sizes of your finger. But I just took a yellow marker. If you have paint, you can do that too. And I just colored on my finger, which is always fun. And then I just printed it on my white paper, like that. So this marker has a little green in it because Sloan likes to mix her colors together, but that's okay. And then with the pen, I just took my fingerprint and I added some parts of the body. I'm going to add the head, and I have kind of like the abdomen and the thorax. I put the stinger on, smiley face, and some wings. And there I have a little fingerprint bee. Super fun and easy. So I hope you have fun doing that. Maybe you can do a whole hive load, or yeah, a queen one and some of the workers and baby bees, whatever you want. Okay, and then the last activity for today is using tongs or chopsticks. So in our classroom, you guys have all done this. You've all used tongs, and a lot of you have had lessons on the chopsticks. And so at home, basically, you could use cotton balls, or you could use pom-poms if you have any. I didn't have any. And I just took, so basically I didn't have either of those things. So I just took some things that I had, which were some scrunchies out of fabric and some Sloan socks, okay? So I just put them in a bowl, and maybe you have smaller tongs, but we just have these big tongs. So every time we're writing, we're using our hand strength to use our pencil. So activities that help us build our muscles in our hand and our eye and hand coordination by looking and doing an activity helps with our writing, helps with our cursive. So this is a great thing to do as a break from writing, as to help build your muscles. So tongs, especially big tongs, if you have a smaller hand, it's going to take more muscles to use, and that's good for your body. So basically it's super easy, but I'm just going to take my tongs and I'm going to reach in and grab one item at a time. There, okay, my tongs. Now, the other activity, and maybe you have some chopsticks at your house, and maybe you have kid-sized chopsticks or just restaurant chopsticks that you could even make smaller. We just have these kind of formal ones, so I couldn't cut them to make them smaller. But for chopsticks, you're going to put, I'm very left-handed, so it's hard for me to show sometimes, but basically one finger in between, one finger on top, one finger on bottom, and then your thumb is doing a lot of the work. And you're going to just practice, and you can at first, try different motions. The thing about chopsticks is that they're intuitive, and the more you use them, the easier it gets. And at first it might feel really awkward and look weird, but then as you practice, you will get more dexterity, you'll get more ability to move them at different levels and speeds. So I'm going to basically do the next activity. I'm going to go in and take one thing out at a time. Hard. There you go. Yeah. And then another thing you can always do is make like noodle soup and try to use chopsticks eating your noodles. So there you go. So there's 2 activities to practice your hand muscles and your strength and your dexterity, which is how well you can move the small muscles in your hands. Okay, my friends. Well, I hope you had fun and you enjoyed that. And there'll be a story video after this. And if not, well, I'm sure you'll watch that. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next week. So let's say goodbye with my heart to your heart. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, And all my friends under the rainbow. Hope you have fun working on these activities and knowing your friends are doing them too. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.